All right, so I think we're all back. So what we'll do is get started with a public hearing to get public comment on the FY20 budget. Real quick, whoever wants to address the board, I would ask that please come up to the podium. We're going to have 3 minutes for each person. If you don't mind first giving us your name and your address. I will, at the 3-minute mark, I'm going to just give you a heads up so it doesn't seem to be rude. And admittedly, I'm not very good at interrupting people. But at the 3-minute mark, I will stop just to give you a heads up. And if you need more minute, we can request so of the board. We'll probably do that very informally. So we'll kind of look around, and as long as it seems like we're getting close to the end of the testimony, we'll allow it. And again, so if anybody wants to address the board, please come up to the podium.
Some clarity around this. Is this the public comment section?
This is, yeah, so this is a public hearing on the budget, and we're going to get right to it. So if anybody wants to speak on the FY20 budget, they can please come up to the podium now.
Am I the only person?
I doubt it.
I'm just first. Okay, my name is Jo Coyne, and I live at 36 Salem Street. And some of you may recognize my name because I've communicated with you about budget issues before. I also was happy to have my letter to the editor published in last week's paper. And so I'm not going to say anything that I didn't say in that letter or that I've said before, but I thought it was worth a trip down here just to say to each of you on the school board, on the school committee, and the school administration how I feel about the school budget. I am totally appalled that we would hire a consultant to look at school enrollments, which have needed to be looked at for a long time, to have the recommendations come back or the information come back that our high schools average 55% capacity, that our middle schools average 50% capacity, and that our elementary schools are pretty much in the acceptable ballpark of 70s and 80%, whatever. I don't have a quarrel with that. But to have you appoint a committee to look at those findings, and then I guess because the state, said, oh, we'll give you some more money, at least right now, the committee decided not to make their proposal, their upheaval, a formal recommendation. They just scrapped that. And so there's no recommendation coming out of all of that work. And we're going forward, and we're not doing anything about the undercapacity schools, but we're asking for more money from the taxpayers so that we can have new programs. And I just think that at some point, the school committee has to make some hard decisions. It's clear that you're not willing to make them this year, but if not this year, they just are going to get put off again. This has been building. We didn't reach 55% and 50% capacities in our schools overnight. It's been a long road, and with the housing that's going in, it doesn't look like we're, right now we're not supporting a lot of workforce housing to draw more families in with children to fill those schools. So why are you not doing something? Why are you asking me and the other taxpayers to pay more money? I'm a retired educator. I support education. I know the importance of education. I want our children to have a good education. We can do that and solve some of the problems. So I'm not going to belabor it. I think you know how I feel. I wish you would do something about it. Thank you.
Stephen Sharp of Cumberland Avenue. I'm going to appoint Jo Coyne the chair of our campaign to defeat the school budget. A $7.2 million increase in the school budget is really a hill too far to climb. I would suggest that you begin looking at reductions to the increase. I'm not suggesting you cut the school budget. I'm asking you to look at reductions to the increase. Some small low-hanging fruit that I've brought up in the past that's simple money to reduce. $145,000 to run a school on Cliff Island for two kids. and continuously it's been 2 kids. $145,000. That's $70,000 per child. You could transport them to another island for far less money. Eliminating the union rep position that's paid for in the budget. There is no reason that the school department pays for a union rep. The union should pay for their own union rep. I'm at a loss as to why you would spend $500,000 in order to bill the state of Maine $1.4 million and make $900,000 on it. I'm referring to the BREATHE program. It makes no sense to operate this program the way you've set it up. That we actually are spending money to get money from the state of Maine. Quite frankly, I think it's criminal, and I think it's fraudulent. You're using the program just to get additional money from the state of Maine. The bottom line is that enrollment is increasing by your projections by 15 students. 15 students total increase in the enrollment. Yet you're increasing the budget by $7.2 million and you're adding 53 people to the payroll. 15 student increase and you're adding 53 people to the payroll. Does that really make sense? I don't think so. And as part of that, just one last piece, as part of that, you're adding 8.5 administrators to your staff. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Hello, John Thibodeau from Protect Our Neighborhood Schools, 114 Clinton Street. First of all, I just have a question. Regarding the reduction of 2 teachers at Rowe, we all know that teacher-student ratio is one of the most powerful variables for our students and for good schools. So with that in mind, during your work session, if you could address why that reduction is there, and if you'd consider weighing it, reconsider weighing it against other expenses. So with that out of the way, thank you for your work on this budget. I've been to too many meetings and seen all that you've put forward for this. I especially appreciate the way that you went about this, just very proactive with the City Council, with the state delegation, and I think we have a lot to be proud of. You've done great work, so thank you. And I support the budget, and I just think it's, I've been here for a few years doing this work, and I know you've always aspired to address the achievement gap, but it's just not been possible. And this year, this is a bold step towards doing that. Our students who are most vulnerable and most disadvantaged have not been improving, have not been getting better. And finally, we have the resources to really try to do something about that. The pre-K expansion, the BREATHE program, these are powerful steps forward. And I'm excited about it, and I think a lot of people in the community are as well. So with that said, I ask you to go boldly into your negotiations with the City Council. I think from hearing you all talk about this budget, I think you believe in it. I think you believe in it for the right reasons. And I ask you to go into those negotiations defending it and be bold with it and make your case why this is a good budget for our schools and for Portland. Thanks.
Is there anyone else?
So I'd like to echo Kathy Marquis-Gerard, Assistant Principal at Portland High School. I'm also a PAA representative. And I would like to echo some of the sentiments that the gentleman in front of me said. We appreciate your work that you've done on behalf of our students, most vulnerable students. I know you've put a lot of effort and time into the Portland Promise, which is really showing great gains. It's become part of our culture here at Portland High. Seeing the whole child, seeing what their needs are, and doing the hard work, frankly. I know you try to balance all the demands of the stakeholders, your advocacy on behalf of the staff, teachers, students, and families is noticeable. I've been doing this for 10 years, 6 years as a PA rep, and I've watched the work of this board. Not always exciting every night when I'm sitting out in the audience, but I know that you're working hard, and you're leading with heart, and you're leading with your heads. And I think that the direction you're taking this is impressive, and I hope you do stay strong and carry this forward, because the work is the good work. And so I want to thank you on behalf of the administrators and all that you do for us. Thank you.
If anyone else is going to address the board, if you don't mind, please either lining up or coming in. If not, I want to first of all apologize for so abruptly starting the public hearing. Maybe I should add a little bit more context into what got us here today. The superintendent presented the budget to the board on March 27th. Excuse me. 19, excuse me, at which time the board referred it back to the Finance Committee. We had a joint meeting with the council and continued the discussion at the Finance Committee until last Thursday night, when they referred the budget back to the board. So this is the first time that the public hearing is taking place at the board level. And tonight, after the end of our business meeting, we'll have a workshop where we will present the details of what the Finance Committee has recommended for the full board. I think our next step is to have a joint meeting with the council again, which is happening Thursday night at 5:30 here in City Hall, I believe room 209. And then on April 8th, the board will then have a meeting, a business meeting, to formally vote on the budget and recommend it over to the City Council for their review. So again, I apologize for abruptly starting the public hearing, but if anybody else wants to address the board, please come in, step up to the podium. Thank you. If no one else is going to speak, we'll close the public hearing.